Welcome in to the Triple Play Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Today is Wednesday, September 13th. And boys, we are all witnesses of the Trey Turner experience. Will you remember where you were at when Trey Turner set MLB ablaze? With his recent tear making him a first-round pick? Who knows? I'm with my boys Marty Party, Doc, and Lil Cheesecake. Fellas, what's going on?
Trey Turner was my first round pick in Glarf, so I'm very excited over this last month because before that, man, that was pretty brutal. And Max Scherzer, you hate to see it, but yeah. Other than that, positive vibes here.
What other things you might hate to see, especially if you're Emily Nyman, is A-Rod's name coming out as being a snitch today. I don't know if y'all saw that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, he got some immunity for that, but A-Rod coming out as a snitch on his own network, dropping the dime on him. Bad news.
Makes all the sense to me.
I hear every week, it feels like I hear more and more negative things about him. I've heard Dan Patrick say he was like one of the worst guests he ever had on his show. I heard that
the Captain documentary made him seem like a pretty bad guy.
Yeah. I think everybody kind of knows the person he is at this point. Back to Trey Turner, though, for a second. Do you guys know what his updated numbers are since the famous August 4th ovation?
I think his overall for the year, I think he's like 25 homers, 26 steals, batting .270. I was looking at it yesterday.
He went 3 for 5 yesterday with a homer and a stolen base, which takes, I didn't see his numbers today, but going into today, he had 26 homers and 27 steals on the season. Since August 4th, when the Philly fans gave him a standing ovation amid struggles, that's 34 games, he's batting .388 with 16 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases. He's actually the first player in MLB history with 11 homers and 11 multi-hit games in a 13-game span.
That's crazy. I played him and Matt Olson in a home league last week, and Matt Olson is homering every 2 out of 3 games and somehow won.
That's impossible. I don't know how you pulled that off. That seems almost impossible.
Every day. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's 6 points here, 7 points there, 4, 1, 11.
You want to know the worst part is, so today the Phillies and Braves played, and the Braves won 4-1. Eric Spencer Strider pitched 7 innings of 1-run ball and 9 strikeouts. The pain is brutal.
The irony, we were worried about Zach Allen, and Zach Allen gave up 7 earned today.
Did he really?
Whoa.
I didn't see that. Spencer Strider, 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, taking his ERA now down to 3.73. Trey Turner today did not get a hit, so we will have to hold on the numbers for him.
Have you ever heard of a Cy Young Award winner with a 3.7 ERA?
He has no shot anymore.
You think?
His outing against the Cardinals is what did him in. 6 earned runs.
If Blake Snell gets blown up today against the Dodgers, it's not impossible.
But then there's Justin Steele still there.
Strider needs to not give up a run the rest of the year. And Snell needs to blow up tonight.
And Steele needs, he would need multiple blow-ups, I think, because they have
Steele
over a run higher.
Cy Young ever.
They have over a run better ERA, both him and Steele, than Spencer Strider does. Even though Spencer Strider is going to lead the league in wins and he's going to lead the league in strikeouts, he's going to have like.
I think that counts for something. I think he's leading in WHIP too.
Is he after that blow up? I didn't check. I was so upset.
I'll check while you continue.
I will never. Eric knows how much I put on that. I will never publicly tell how much I put on it, but it was very, very painful.
I got $100 on it, dude. I'm hemmed up. I need him to step up.
Yeah, dude. I guess never say never. I think going into the start today, he was plus 7,500 to win.
Love those odds.
Blake Snell was minus 200 and Steele was like plus 150.
But Snell has like a 1.3 whip. So it's like everyone has warts. I guess
what else are you going to look at in his profile?
Okay, in the NL, Spencer Strider is tied for third with a 1.08 whip. Wheeler and Burns are ahead of him. Justin Steele's a 1.13, and Blake Snell is a 1.25.
Which is that he actually improved because it was like 1.3.
1.01 like a couple weeks ago. Those bad outings really hurt.
It's crazy that Blake Snell has a career high 13.7 walk percentage.
Very, very wild. He would be
2.52 ERA. It's crazy.
I know Scott White tweeted something out. Would he be like the worst Cy Young that you can remember?
No. I mean, there have been soft Cy Young awards before that I can think of.
I think the year Rick Porcello won in the AL.
That's a good one. Yeah, good call on that one.
He had 20 wins and a 3.28 ERA that year.
He got shelled some games though. I remember I think he had the longevity and durability that a pitcher, like, I don't think he missed a start, but I don't think he was overly impressive.
If Spencer Strider gets his ERA down to, I don't even know if it's realistic if he can at this point. I think he has 2 starts left. If he gets his ERA down to 3.5 something, does he have a shot?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't think he does at this point. I would love for that to be the case.
This is how you know David's rusty hosting is he's lamenting on a bed for 7 minutes in the show rather than telling us what we're talking about.
You know why, Eric. You know exactly why, though.
I know exactly why.
Yeah. Well, we got a great show planned for you guys tonight. We've got talking big names to drop. Maybe if there's guys you drafted that have underperformed, is it finally time to cut bait with them? We're also talking some prospect promotions, recent promotions, if they're relevant for your roster at this point. Assuming most of you that are in head-to-head leagues are in the fantasy playoffs. If you're in season-long roto-style format leagues, then are these guys actually going to help you go for a championship? We'll also be looking at the potential first round and what it might look like for 2024. It's going to be a start of a fun exercise in the offseason that we're going to be doing that a lot. And then we have a fun game plan for you guys at the end. So without further ado, let's get to our first topic here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys some big names that were drafted very high in fantasy leagues. And you guys are going to tell me basically if you would drop them. And when I say drop them, if you're not starting them at this point, you're dropping them because they're big enough names that you would be starting them if you trust them. If you don't trust them, you're probably cutting bait. So the first guy I'm going to tell you is, or read off to you guys, is Dylan Cease, who just in his last outing did rack up 8 strikeouts, I believe 1 earned run on 5 innings against the Kansas City Royals. It's his first decent outing in quite some time. He's been unbelievably bad this year. Are you guys starting Dylan Cease? I'll start with you, Doc. If you have Dylan Cease on your roster, are you starting him going forward?
I do have Dylan Cease, and this was a difficult decision. And the only reason I kept him this week is because he had a 2 start, and the first was against Kansas City. I'm playing him, but it is risky. A really bad blow up recently against the Athletics. Looked like early in the game against the Royals that he was going to get hit, but 8 strikeouts. He's had at least 6 over the last 6 games. So in a roto category, he's helping you with that, especially in points leagues. He's limited his walks the last couple games, and that's something that was concerning a little bit earlier, especially with all the pitchers that we're talking about that are going down or teams that are playing coy with how long their starter is going to go. You know Cease is going to pitch.
That's actually his first outing of giving up less than 4 earned runs in 5 outings. So, again, has not been great.
But the game before that, 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 7 Ks against the Brewers.
What? Before the Brewers? Are you talking about back in September or August 13th?
Yes.
But that was in the middle of August. We're in the middle of September now.
Yeah, and he just had a good start in the middle of September, so he can still have them.
1 a month.
Yeah.
He might have used it already. What do you think, Elsie? If you have Dylan Cease, are you starting him?
He got Minnesota and then at Boston as his next 2. Minnesota's been pretty good, better offensively than they had been. I think he's a drop, to be honest. I do understand Doc's point about there being just fewer and fewer worthy pitchers to put out there, but he's just so volatile and he could kill you at any outing. So I think he's a drop. Marty, what about you?
Pretty much the same thing. Minnesota 120 WRC plus over the last 2 weeks. Boston only an 87, so not great there. And then if you're playing all the way up to the end of the year, maybe it's either Diamondbacks or Padres, and I don't love those as well. Deep points league, yeah, keep them going. A 15-team league, probably keep him going. But anything below that, gotta go.
Chris Bassett or Dylan Cease?
Chris Bassett.
Chris Bassett.
Yeah, give me the Bassett Hound.
All right. Let's talk about another player. And the next player on this list, Christian Javier, who was also same type of reason, high strikeout upside, and somebody that looked like they were ascending as a pitcher has been an absolute flop this season. Marty, I'll go to you first now. If you have Christian Javier on your roster, are you trusting him these last couple of weeks when you might need him to perform for your fantasy playoffs?
I've never owned him in any league that I've ever played in. So I'm gonna have to go to the schedule here. So they go against the Royals, maybe Baltimore he go up against, but then the Royals again, and then Mariners Diamondbacks. I don't think there's any reason to be playing him. xERA of 4.69, a 21.9 K percentage, and he's walking people 9% of the time. Those are my bug. If I see xERA through the roof, does not strike out people, and he's still walking people at a high clip, and then he's going against good teams, no thanks.
Yeah, if you just look across on his Baseball Savant page, it is not pretty. A lot of hard contact allowed this year. Max EV of 114 miles per hour. Exit velocity 89.1 miles per hour. Just not great across the board here. LC, what about you?
He's been a lot better at home than he has been on the road this season. I think Kansas City is workable. I might try. It looks like it might have his next two against KC. The first one on the road, though. I may keep him for his next two with KC at KC and then KC at home. No, Baltimore at home.
Yikes.
Oh, that's at least how it's looking right now. That's a tough one. Baltimore is murderous. Yeah, if Baltimore's your home start and you stink on the road, yeah, that might be a drop. That's a no for me, dog.
He's gone only 6 innings once since August. He's also not giving you any
Baltimore
volume.
and KC are just Baltimore's the best offense in baseball over the last 2 weeks. And even the Kansas City Royals, 113 WRC plus. Don't
Doc.
do it.
I would drop him, but here's the caveat. I would pick him up as a streamer if he's available in your league and you need someone to go this weekend. I do like the Friday matchup with the Royals, but he has a 7.27 ERA in his last 13 outings. That's awful. And it's not like he is, it was one start where he gave up 7 or 8 earned. He's given up 3 earned in his last 5 outings. And as David mentioned, he's gone 6 innings once. So he's not giving you good ratios. He's not striking people out. It's actually surprising that his statistics aren't worse than what they are.
I agree with you. What about this one? Might be a little easier one. Are we Lucas Giolito or are we Lucas Giolino rest of season? I know you missed that.
That was so ugly.
Are we all Lucas Giolino rest of year?
He's a no for me. I'm not even going to look at the schedule.
So I would say, I think this was a universal one.
Yeah.
He's a free agent in our home league, I think, isn't he? Still,
I picked him up to stream, and then I sat him with 1 minute before. It was against the Angels of all teams too, and I said I can't live with myself if he gets another negative 21.
Yeah, he's lost out there.
All right, so we'll go away from Lucas Giolito then and talk about Marty Heartthrob and Lance Lynn, who leads the major leagues in home runs allowed, 41 allowed this season. Keep in mind, last year's leader was Josiah Gray at 38, and Lance Lynn, I believe, still has 3 more starts left. So Lance Lynn did just come off, I believe, a 7-inning, 2-earned run outing against San Diego yesterday. So I got to ask you, LC. I mean, I know I held on to him for a long time. Is Lance Lynn, do you feel confident in a must-win scenario playing him?
Must-win, I'm not sure. Next week, though, he's 2 starts, Detroit and San Francisco. I like those. I like that. I'm putting him out there because he's one of those guys that's hard to read. He stinks or he's awesome. And, those 2 starts are pretty juicy, though. And if you have in a weekly league, 2 starts, His strikeout. I know he had been. I know that he has had some trouble striking out people lately. And let me look that up. His last few games, I know he had very low strikeouts.
I
So he
want to
wasn't-
say
He had
I feel like
3 yesterday, and
Yeah.
then each outing before that, he had 1 for the previous 3 outings.
and then 3 the outing before that.
Yeah,
So
and then he had 9 before.
He has 9 strikeouts in his last 5 starts. Whew. Oh,
he's allowing a 40.1 hard hit percentage. His sweet spot percentage 36%. His exit velocity is not bad, but most of the hard contact barrel percentage is almost double what it was last year.
those strikeouts are. I mean, the starts they look juicy. Detroit and San Francisco, but he's not striking people out. I don't know. I mean, my gut says throw him out there because it's Lance Lynn, but when I look at what he's done, it's hard to do it. I don't know. It's going to be a Sunday. It's going to be a Monday morning decision for me or maybe even Sunday night. I may be dropping him where I have him. What do you
It
guys
definitely
think?
got to the point. I have him in a couple leagues, and they got to the point where I was like, I'm gonna play him, but I kind of know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And
I think it's just. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm riding him. I've been watching the games
this
yesterday.
is a PG podcast.
I've been watching a lot of Dodgers games, and they were talking about yesterday how the majority of Lance Lynn's earned runs come from home runs, and that when runners are actually on base, he does a really good job maneuvering out of that. One of the really bad games, 7 earned against the Braves, which nobody is prone to that offense. The other bad one was at Miami, but looked good against the Padres yesterday, and he's a guy I don't know. I just trust. He hasn't done me wrong yet.
I have him in TGFBI. The ratios aren't that good anyway, so I'm going to be playing him in that league. So 15-teamer. Anything below that, I just can't do it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Marty. I think it's like if you're in a really deep league, there's not a lot of probably good options out there, 15 or deeper. But it's also, I feel like what ratios do you need to keep? Like again, ERA at this point, if you're not having a good ERA on the year, then he's probably not going to help that. But
Well, most people have had Lance Lynn on their team the entire year, so you don't have to worry about your ERA. It's already done, though.
Very, very true. Again, even the strikeouts haven't been there. And
He'll
that's
get you a
one thing
win.
he was giving you.
Maybe, yeah.
All right, so then next one on the list, Carlos Rodon, who's been don't start him recently until his last outing. Again, a lot of these guys, I feel like were one way, and then they've come back with a decent start. Rodon has not looked anywhere near the pitcher we thought he would be, and obviously injuries have played a factor into that. Doc, I don't think you have any Carlos Rodon from any of the leagues I remember you telling me about, but if you did have him, would you start him?
Nope. Yankees are soon to be eliminated from postseason contention. They signed Rodon to a big deal this offseason. He's been multiple IL stints and things that are concerning, like a back issue. The only Rodon shares I have is when I did a best ball and underdog, and one of you guys were like, come on, let's get some Rodon shares.
You're blaming it on us then, huh?
Exactly. Got him on no leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I made a video last year to sell high on him. I'm so low on him.
So he went 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 4 walks, 9 strikeouts against the Boston Red Sox. Started before that against the Detroit Tigers of all teams, gave up 7 earned runs in under 4 innings.
Mm-hmm.
So
4 walks. I mean, that says to me, dude, he got lucky. He only gave up, what he did. That's risky business.
He's not
It's a
going
no
deep
for me.
either in starts too. So you have the walks being high. You have he's not going deep into games. He's playing for a ball club that's pretty much eliminated from the playoffs.
What about points leagues, though? Are you still going to roll the dice out on that?
When's his? Well, let's see. Who's his next outing against?
At Pittsburgh.
I would do that. And
I do at Pittsburgh.
League.
Then he has Arizona.
No.
Then he has Arizona after that. So I'm not sure if I do Arizona, but I do at Pittsburgh for sure.
Don't do it.
Wow. The only spot I have him, I'm in a consolation bracket. So I can't.
Loser.
And out of respect, I can't drop him because you can't add when you're in the consolation bracket. So I'm throwing him out there in the consolation round.
There we go. So Carlos Rodon will get some love on this podcast. What about Hunter Brown, who again was going one way, and then tonight, I believe 5 scoreless innings with 7 strikeouts. I didn't see who he was playing against, though. I just
Oakland.
glimpsed Oakland. So obviously take it as you will, but he's been brutal in the second half, and to the point where I think most people were saying he's an easy cut. The Astros have pitching depth, and he might just come in as a long relief guy. He has not been reliable down the stretch. His ERA was approaching 5. Marty, I don't know if you have any Hunter Brown. He was definitely a fan favorite of this podcast. So if you have Hunter Brown, are you starting him?
I have him 0 places, but let's just look to the schedule here. Potentially, so Royals, maybe Mariners, or then the Diamondbacks. Are the Diamondbacks playing everybody? It seems like everyone we've mentioned the Diamondbacks are playing over the next week. He's a no for me for right now. I think where's he at with his innings right now? He's at.
I will give you that right now. He is at
142.
145. After,
145. Oh, including today. Yeah. So last year he pitched 20 in the majors.
Last year in the majors.
Yeah. So I think he just hit the wall.
Which is fair. Going up as many innings as he has, and I don't have his AAA innings in front of me, but
I can get those.
He anytime you go,
I have him right here. He went 106 innings plus the 21, so that's 127 last year, and he's already at what? So he's at
145.
Oh yeah, then he's where he's done. I'd say and if they want to use him in long relief or whatever they're going to do for him in the playoffs, I think they're going to curb his starts anyway.
10-11 with a 4.66 ERA, 27 starts this year, 1.35 WHIP. I think we had better hopes for him, for sure.
His innings pitched by month, 30.1, 32, 24.2, 24.1, 21.2, and it's at 13.1 this month. It looks like they're gradually decreasing it.
Yeah, and I mean, a big reason he was big last year, a 64.7 ground ball percentage in the limited time he was up. It's still decent, down to 52.3%, but definitely has had some problems, but he could be an interesting target for next year. You know, having his first full year in the big leagues, he could be somebody, you hear something in the offseason about him reworking with a pitch or doing something different. He definitely could have an intriguing upside case for sure. But for the rest of this year, definitely don't see the too much intrigue with him. The last pitcher I have on the card for tonight is Mitch Keller. He did just go against the Braves, and I think everybody sucks against the Braves. But he's, again, a pitcher that started out the year really hot, and then you look, eight earned runs here, 7 earned runs here. ERA is now settled into a high 4s ERA. He actually is striking out a decent amount. I believe he's in the top 5 in the National League in strikeouts. He also is, I believe, in the top 5 in innings, and I will double check both of those in a second. LC, Mitch Keller, last pitcher on the list here. Would you start him?
Well, he has the Nationals next. I think that's a pretty decent start. That's tomorrow. He has the Nationals, and he's at the Cubs. And the Cubs, oh gosh, they just got taken 2 out of 3 from Colorado. They just got taken 3 out of 4 from the D-backs before that. But the Cubs can sting you, and I think Keller might be the type of pitcher they sting. He's going to get you the strikeouts. You got to respect that. So if you need the Ks, do it. But I think if you're not in the need of Ks, he's not someone who I'd be anxious to put out there.
So right now in the National League, he is, I hate how MLB does that when you try to sort. In the National League, he is 8th in innings pitched, and he is in strikeouts, 6th in strikeouts. Actually, I didn't give his ERA. He's a 4.23 ERA, even after a bunch of those blowups he's had. So again, probably the lowest ERA of the group here. Doc, Mitch Keller, are you buying?
I follow Art's thoughts. If you need the strikeouts, I would do it. And depending on the type of player, a lot of the pitchers we've talked about tonight, they can give you really good outings, or they can bring down your ratios. They can kill you in points leagues. So if you want to avoid those type of guys, then I would say Mitch Keller isn't for you. But he also has that high upside. So I probably wouldn't play him, but that's just me.
Marty, I'm assuming the same thing.
I'm gonna start him. I have him in Glarf, and I'm trying to get top 10 overall in the Earth League. I'm knocking on the door of that, so I need Mitch Keller to have a. I don't mind his upcoming. It's Washington and then Chicago. Neither of those really scare me. And then at Cincinnati, maybe, which I don't love, but it's a terrible lineup, and they're not hitting well. But then the Phillies, who are just pretty hot right now. So. If you have them on your team, you're forced to play them. I don't think you probably have 4 or 5 starters to put in front of them. I'm gonna be riding them just like Doc Road Lance Lynn.
Oh man, triple play after dark.
Let's ride them in the same room.
I don't know why my head went this way, but when you say Mitch Keller, the game like F, Marry, Kill.
Yeah,
I was thinking like F, Mitch Keller. I mean,
it's great to have you back, David.
I could see that. My brain goes in a bunch of these weird places. All right, so a couple hitters, and thanks to Doc and Elsie for throwing a couple of these hitter names here. Ellie De La Cruz, who obviously I think the most hyped player to come up this year. Is that fair to say? Season-long numbers, a 235 batting average, 298 OBP, 409 slug, and 707 OPS. 11 homers and 27 steals. On the surface, it doesn't look horrible, but he has been absolutely dreadful in the second half. Somebody that borderline unstartable at this point. I'm just going to pull up just for reference his post All-Star break numbers. So pre-All-Star break, 4 homers, 16 RBIs, hitting 325 with a 363 OBP. The second half, post All-Star break, a 182 batting average with 7 homers and 10 steals. So he had 16 pre-All-Star break, 10 post-All-Star break. And what's interesting is 126 at-bats at pre-All-Star break with those 16 steals, 214 at-bats post-All-Star break with 10. So almost 100 more games or 100 more at-bats and 6 less steals. He's just been dreadful. Doc, Ellie De La Cruz is on your roster at this point. Are you going to cut him? At this point, it's not a bench. If you're not going to start Ellie De La Cruz at this point, I feel like you have to drop him if you're at this point in your season. So are you going to trust him in your lineup, or are you dropping him?
In a 15 team, I think it's no question you keep him. And I think in a roto, you keep him because of the stolen base upside. In a points league, I'm cutting him. The strikeout rate, 34%, walking at a 7% clip. Jonathan India is back, so now he's hitting out of the leadoff role. And overall, as a team, the Reds have been tanking. It was them and the Brewers fighting for the division. Now they're 6.5 games back. They're 2 games behind the Cubs. They're fading out of contention quickly. And Joey Votto's back from the IL. They got Harrison Bader in waivers. So it's a little bit more of a crowded batting room than it was a couple months ago when he came up.
I agree. Marty, what about you?
I'm going to be riding him. I do have him in a league. And here's the reason why. Let's go to the waiver wire. Ahmad Rosario, who would you rather have?
Yeah, Rosario's not getting enough plate appearances. Yeah.
Tim Anderson?
Nope.
No.
Ezekiel Tovar?
Nah.
He was playing
Ezekiel Duran?
But
well, Tovar has 3 games coming up at home, and then all next week they're going to be away.
Yeah.
Tovar's like 0 for his last 13 or something.
Yeah, he went 2 for 4 today, but before that, 0 for his last 16. Yeah. So, Javi Baez, the lowest OPS in all of baseball qualified.
Yeah.
Maikel Garcia. I'm just saying, shortstop is
Yeah, Garcia maybe
him.
He's hitting 260.
Yeah, he's been decent.
He's hitting at the top of the lineup too.
Yeah, so maybe Garcia. But De La Cruz is the only one who could potentially have a power speed. But 180 in the second half, he's striking out almost 40% of the time in the second half as well. So I like Doc's statement about in points leagues, he's killing you in points leagues with those strikeouts.
Yeah, Jordan Lawler, Jose Mateo. I mean, shortstops are rough.
Yeah.
Only all of us could have Corey Seager.
Noelve Marte?
He's so good.
Can I interest you in that? Went 2 for 4 today.
Yeah, David, Corey Seager might be your best hit of the year.
I wasn't even talking about I'm just talking in general. Corey Seagers is a dog. He's an
Yeah.
absolute beast.
Marty, to go back to yours, I'm interested in Marte over Ellie.
New Alvin Marte.
Mm-hmm.
What's he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
254, 6 steals already in 21 games.
Yeah, I would probably go Marte as well.
Yeah.
The other name brought up by Doc is Shohei Ohtani. I think at this point, if I'm in a weekly league, I'm dropping him because he's not pitching. He's not even playing every day as a DH. Wasn't it like 9 games in a row he didn't
He was
play?
supposed to play today, and they pushed it back at least one more day.
They said that Monday. Phil Nevin came out last Thursday and said he'll be out in the next couple days. So it was 2 at max, and now we're going on a week. I'm playing him in our points league, and it is the biggest blessing that he was not cut. He should have been cut last week when he missed because here's the thing, even if he comes back in DHs, he's not playing every day. He might DH 1 out of every 3 games, especially if he leaves the Angels. I'm sure he'll want to play for the fans once or twice more. But he's not an everyday player, even if he was to come back tomorrow.
I think, is it fair to say for all of us, if you have a league with deep benches, you bench him, you don't cut him. But if you have a league where you pretty much are so thin that you don't have very many people on your bench, that you might need to use that roster spot for someone that's playing every day. If you're trying to, again, in a points league head-to-head or roto head-to-head format, where you need as much stats as you can over these next couple weeks, if he's playing once or twice a week, that's not cutting it.
I agree with that. I mean, I would hold out hope that he gets back to playing more, but why? Yeah, but why would he play at this point more than a couple times, like Doc said?
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get back. He's a gamer. He loves to play. He's trying to get back, but he's not feeling it. He's not feeling well enough.
He has an oblique issue and a torn UCL. It's not like he's battling one thing.
Brutal.
I can't believe it's all happened like right before he was about to get paid too. Like he was about to get $600 million. I don't want to know how much he lost with these injuries. It just stinks. All right. So we're going to move on, talk about a different kind of set of topics here. And we are going to talk about what the potential first round is going to look like next year. And there was, I believe, a Tout Wars draft that was a mock draft, but they did do a draft. And then, of course, there's the too early draft that does count, that I believe the Deadpool hitter puts on, and they do the first 7 rounds or so, and then they pick it up again in the new year. So that's obviously ADP data that they're just basically doing without any ADP. But I think it's interesting to see how they draft compared to, do you agree with everything that was done, or do you see it going differently once rankings and everything come out? So I'm going to pull up the too early draft that they did, but I'd just be interested to hear from you guys, just starting with you, Doc. How do you think the first round shakes up next year?
I think we've seen less and less pitching. When we did our draft at FPAS, Justin Mason at the turn took Cole and Burns, but no pitcher was taken before that. And even with Strider, that has really great K upside, I don't think there's a complete pitcher. And especially with the amount of injuries that we've seen, I wouldn't be surprised to see 13 out of the at least 15 picks be hitters.
I think that's about right. It's just been kind of the way the game is switched these days. Marty, what do you think?
Well, I was going to say, and we know who's first place in the FPAS league. It's Justin Mason. So this might be the time to maybe zig when other people zag. But I think that's a good point. I think there'll be very few pitchers in there, and I'm excited to see kind of where like the Trey Turner, like the veterans go. Where does Freddie Freeman go from here? Where does Trey Turner go from here? Where does Matt Olson go after dropping 51 plus bombs? So I'm not going to look at anything from October, November, and December. I'm just going to leave that all alone, and I'm going to come back in January with a fresh brain to look at it all. Because I think it's crazy that people are already doing drafts now without even being removed from the season. So I'll be interested to see what the the 7 rounds looks like. But yeah, I think pitching taking the back seat is going to be one of the bigger ones.
I do have it in front of me. Art, unless you have any other thoughts you would like to add.
I have a few thoughts, just a couple players who I think may sneak up. Maybe not every draft, but Cody Bellinger might be a first rounder.
Oh yeah.
First rounder, really?
Oh wait.
He's batting 320 with 20 home runs and steals.
You think
It's a contract year.
It's in the first
Contract
round,
year too.
It's a contract year, and Bellinger has shown some ups and downs, but potential. I mean, if he doesn't go in the first round, he's going in the second with those types of stats he's put up. Seager, with his injury concerns, he's only played 100 games so far, but he's hitting 340. Potential first rounder next year as well. These are some guys. Yeah, some of these guys. And Ohtani, could Ohtani injury drop him out of the first? That's a question I have. Do we have?
Well,
go
so
ahead.
I will
would for
tell
me.
you guys. So the too early draft. This was Rob tweeted this out on August 23rd. If you haven't followed Rob DiPietro, Deadpool hitter, great follow, great dude, does great work in the fantasy baseball space. So this was him, and then he collected a bunch of other analysts, and this was the data that came out from their draft. I can tell you, Cody Bellinger did not go until the 6th round in this draft. I can also tell you that Shohei Ohtani was the 2nd pick in this draft. Now, again, August 23rd, I'm pretty sure, was that?
That was before his oblique issue. That was he's done from pitching, but he's still hitting.
I think the oblique issue is not going to hinder him for next year. I think the elbow is one thing, but the oblique is not something I would worry about for next
Those
year.
injuries start to add up, though. Small things.
Spencer Strider
Was 3,
went
right?
third in this draft, the number 3 pick. Ronald Acuna went 1, J-Rod went 4, Mookie went 5, and Fernando Tatis went 6th.
And Bobby Witt went 7, right?
Bobby went 7, Freddie Freeman 8, Jose Ramirez 9, Kyle Tucker 10, Corbin Carroll 11, Garrett Cole 12, Yordan Alvarez 13, Ozzie Albies 14, and Aaron Judge 15. Do you guys have any problem with that first round?
Jose Ramirez is a little too high for me.
At 9?
Especially above Kyle Tucker.
I mean, power speed is still very real with him.
I just see him declining, and I don't think Cleveland is putting good pieces around him.
Did you guys?
And they don't seem inclined to ever trade their good players,
except for Lindor.
I think Olsen has hit his way into the first round.
He's a mid-second round pick in this draft.
Yeah.
But again, that's almost a month ago before he went really on a tear. I think he's become a turn pick. No, like a 15. You have the 15th pick. He's like the last pick of the first pick of the second.
Yeah, I think so. Like almost like how Jordan was last year.
But you know what the argument's going to be is how it was this year. It's going to be flipped. Why take Pete Alonso when you could get Matt Olson 2 rounds later? Why take Matt Olson when you could take Pete Alonso 2 rounds later?
It's a good point. But I mean, both of them are solid picks, I think. And Olson's having a career year, but with his offense, I think we're all going to be buying in on the Braves offense next year.
Yeah,
we're all going to want a piece of that. That's going to push him up a bit.
Where did Vlad Jr. go?
Vlad Jr. was the second to last pick of the second round. But with his power decrease this year, I don't blame him for going. He's not giving you steals, decent batting average, but if he's not hitting home runs, that's definitely an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys curious at Corbin Carroll at 11? I feel like when he was at his peak, he was a top 5 or 6 pick. So I feel like he's kind of regressed to in this draft. He was closer to a back end of the first round in a 15-team league. Would you guys take him before pick 11?
He has 47 steals. Go ahead, Marty. Sorry.
No, that's where I'm at with him. I guess for me, the better question is, would you rather have Yordan Alvarez? Would you rather have Ozzie Albies? Would you rather have Judge?
I would take him over Judge because I'm concerned about injuries with him.
When I look at the first round, I don't like Ozzie Albies in the first round. He's not a first round talent to me. And then you hop into the second round, Ellie De La Cruz. beginning of the second round, that's wild. And I think
that was
that
before he was really tailed off.
Sure. I know. And that's what I mean by the volatility of the younger players. I mean, we're 3 weeks removed where Ellie De La Cruz in the second round is absolutely insane. You know, he had the chance, you know, you were close. It was either him or Corey Seager. I mean, when Ellie De La Cruz. So
yeah,
all this stuff's good. Even over the next 3 weeks, there are going to be a lot of things that change. Harper in the second round, like middle, end of the second, I like that.
I wonder if he gets his outfield eligibility back.
I believe you have to play. Depends on the format. I know CBS. I believe it's 5 games. ESPN, it's 10 games.
This is his first year at first base. But if Rhys Hoskins comes back and his torn UCL is completely recovered, like if he has an offseason to recover from that, does he go back to an outfielder? Is he first base? Is he both?
I think it would be one of those things where Harper will gain it at the beginning, like in the first month of the season. Yeah. So you can kind of just, you know, draft
that makes him a lot more valuable then.
Mm-hmm. First base outfield eligible, that'd be good.
That's the old Cody Bellinger back with the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you guys, if you have the 6th pick in the draft and the first 5 play out as they did, are you comfortable taking Fernando Tatis there, or is the volatility too scary at number 6?
I like Tatis.
I would take Witt.
Man,
I would take Witt over Ohtani next year.
What about Kyle Tucker?
Yeah,
I'm talking about nice and safe, right? That's like the missionary pick right there. Like nice and safe. It's gonna, you know, everything's gonna be fine.
Marty, I so feel you on that though. He's the condom pick.
Tatis though is his first season back. Really, I think that Tatis is going to be better next year than he was this year. He's been colder in the second half as well.
Gold Glove outfielder though. Who would have saw that coming? He's one of the best outfielders in the game. It's crazy.
I like him. I think next year is going to be a better season than this year. So I can see him going 6. Might be a little bit rich for my blood with especially with how Witt has done at that third base position and how much value that comes at that position with the steals. But I think he's going to be better next year than he was this year.
Well, real quick on Fernando. I mean, this year, he's got 24 home runs, 25 stolen bases, and he missed the first month of the season.
That's pretty wild.
That's, you know, add another 5 to both of those. He's definitely a first round pick. Now, whether he goes in the top 5, I don't know, but he's definitely top 10 for me.
I want to read you guys some names that were not selected nearly this high last year. Obviously, some of them may be undrafted, and you tell me if you are okay with that value. A lot of these guys are kind of close together here. In the 4th round, Ha-Seong Kim is a 4th round pick. Gunnar Henderson goes right next to him, and as well as Matt McLean. They all 3 go back to back to back. Are you guys surprised at that value for any of those 3 guys?
I'm all in on Gunnar. I'm all in on Gunnar for next year.
So you would take him in the 4th round?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Especially how he's come on since that slow start and with the Orioles offense. I'm all in on that. McLean, I got to see. I'm worried. I don't know what was his injury? He's out for the season, right?
It's an oblique.
Yeah, that was an oblique. Yeah.
Okay. So I like McLean. We yeah. What do you guys think?
I would rather have Gunnar out of those 3 for sure.
Agreed.
Ha-Seong Kim in the 4th, when I got him in like the 26th round this year, it just seems like this is he would have to duplicate exactly what he just did. And he's not that young, you know, and he's having a really good season. I don't know. It's just, you're paying for a ceiling. I don't want to have to do that where I don't know where Henderson's ceiling is.
I'm with Marty on that. I like Gunnar the best out of the group. I would have to see how the draft is playing and if he maintains third base and shortstop eligibility. I mean, David, you know I love Gunnar, so sometimes you get your guys because you like them, that you see them play. That would probably factor into my decision more than if I actually thought he was a 4th round value.
Right. Real quick question in the chat. Would you guys drop Sean Murphy for Logan L. Hoppy? I think that's a smash. Yes.
Yeah. Well, Hoppy's, hasn't he had like 4 home runs over the last week or something crazy like that? Yeah.
He's been 2-homer game. He was showing that before he got hurt too. He's going to be a value next year too, because unless he gets hurt again, but very good catcher. The other guy I wanted to bring up here, obviously we were just talking about those 3 guys, is when you go into the 5th round, there's Grayson Rodriguez, and also C.J. Abrams. C.J. Abrams, I believe, 17 homers, 41 steals on the season. And what was I saying? Grayson Rodriguez has really come on of late. Still not really striking out a crazy amount of batters, but obviously has shown flashes. Either of those guys you feel comfortable in the 5th round? Obviously, this is roto format. That's why C.J. Abrams is as high as he is. But what are your guys' thoughts on these two guys?
I'll say Rob's really, obviously Rob DiPietro is a really smart guy. He's won a lot, but
yeah,
man, when Aaron Nola's sitting there, Max Fried, Framber Valdez, Logan Webb, I know some went before him, but I'd rather have your boy Doc Pablo Lopez, who shout out to him, another 8K performance.
And you know what? He had like 13. He had like 13 last week. Pablo Lopez made me shut it this season.
14 strikeouts that game.
He's been incredible all year. Yeah, so I'd rather have those names. I have Grayson in a lot of places this year, but I don't feel as Max Fried. I'd rather have him. You know, there's safer picks, I think, with that.
I think one of the biggest fallers is O'Neal Cruz, who was probably going where Ellie De La Cruz was last year at this time. And now he's going in the 6th round.
And he's shut down for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a comparable pick. You know, I think O'Neal Cruz might be, if he's healthy next year, could outproduce Ellie De La Cruz pretty easily.
Yeah, I could
We'll
see
have
that.
to see with the speed. I mean, that's a nasty ankle injury he had.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And Ellie's could just be getting used to major league pitching this year and explode next year. But the strikeout rate is so darn scary to me. I don't like drafting guys whose strikeout rates are well above 30. Well, 30 or above, actually, I'd say. It's really scary to me.
Yeah, and I like C.J. Abrams at that price. You know, we talk about the power speed combo that people are chasing in the early rounds. 18 homers, 41 RBIs, 251, which is above league batting average. Batting leadoff for the Nationals every day. The Nationals, they just signed Mike Rizzo to an extension. They're better than Vegas expected them to. They're a gritty team. And I think if they can somehow get Strasburg's contract off the books, or if they can find someone to take the last couple of years of Patrick Corbin's contract, I wouldn't be surprised if they're more aggressive.
That's a good thought.
I'd be remiss to conclude this conversation if I did not include, where are you drafting Cole Reagans next year?
I probably won't have any of him.
I want to see if these yips continue.
True. Top 50 pitcher somewhere in there, top 40 around there by the time I do my rankings in 6 months from now. But yeah, I want to see more. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a pitcher come out like he was a must sit for me in almost in every way. And then over the last 2 months, now he's an ace. I don't know.
All teams to transform him to the Royals.
He has a new pitch. He's throwing a slider now that he wasn't throwing in Texas. I had him as a top 100 overall pick. I mean, to me, the yips are something that once they're there, I'm immediately wary. Now, he said he was catching his cleats on the ground.
I mean, those look like pretty bad throw, like literally like how high they were going.
Yeah. Well, two of them he clipped his feet, and then one of them was a bad pitch, but it was catchable. So it wasn't like he threw all three of them, almost into the crowd. But he hasn't pitched since, though, right?
Right.
No, I believe he's supposed to pitch tomorrow.
He's also had 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Is he pitching tonight? I'm going to pull that. I feel like there's a chance he's pitching tonight.
He pitches September 16th. So in 3 days, that would be Saturday against the Astros. So good luck, buddy.
See. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Doc. Sorry.
I was going to say, he's the later version this year of Jeffrey Springs.
I said Jeffrey Springs. Yeah. Yeah, that's who I think too.
Yeah, he was looking great in his outings. Oh man, was this the best value of the draft? Sleeper for Cy Young, and then gets another pitching related injury.
Yeah, I think Springs I looked him up. He ended up in the main event. Now that is a pitching heavy draft. He was 88 in main event drafts as an ADP. So that gives me Reagans as a top 100 in the main event. So possibly pre-main event, you can get him around 110, 120. Maybe higher. I mean, Tampa Bay is a better context than Kansas City. So that might push Springs up over Riggins, but that was my comp too, was Springs.
Three minds think alike, Art.
And Springs looked amazing before he got hurt. He was literally looked like one of the best pitchers in baseball. But yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, there'll be a whole off season of
I do have one question for the group.
Yeah.
Is Mike Trout a top 75 player?
75. Okay, so
He was drafted 76th. He was the 76th pick in this draft.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Imagine getting him in like in the 7th round, 6th
But
round.
you know what's coming. You know what's coming. It's
Yeah.
extended at least one extended IL.
But that's reflected in his ADP because he's still good value when he's healthy.
He could hit you
It's
30
not-
homers.
It's not like you worry about his performance. His ADP is reflected by the fact that he can't stay healthy. So use him for at the beginning of the season. If you're in a redraft league, trade him if you think that he's due to get hurt. And
What happens if he gets traded? And he
I believe
actually
the
wants
Eagles
to play.
were making him available, weren't they?
It's up to him. He has a no trade clause. So at the end of the day, it's whether or not he wants to go, which is such a funny thing to do to him. The Angels are like, we'll trade you if you want. Like,
what
who does that?
What team is a Mike Trout away from being like a serious contender that isn't right now?
I was thinking he would go the Dodgers.
But they're a contender without him. Like, what team would he put them over where you're like, okay, I'm afraid now?
Mariners.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be good.
If Mike Trout went to the Dodgers, would his ADP go up?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I
so
think
where
if
would you take him if he went to the Dodgers?
I can see myself getting him at the end of the 4th.
I would take him in the 3rd. Because I imagine the top 3 would go Betts, Freeman, Trout. That's a scary 1 through 3.
Can you imagine? Holy crap.
Max Muncy at 4. I heard a stat yesterday that Max Muncy is 1 out of 2 Dodgers with 435+ home run seasons.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow. Did you is the other one Duke Snyder?
It is.
Okay.
But that's just kind of, we think of Max Muncy as an afterthought, but he's been the best power source on that team over the last decade.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like a Kyle Schwarber, hits 30 to 40 home runs, but hits like barely 200.
Can we just
VP guy?
You know what was funny? There's a bet on Caesars. If you can bet he gets more singles or more home runs. The fact that that's actually a bet for someone.
That's hilarious.
And when it came out, he had 41 home runs and 40 singles.
Wow. That's crazy.
Definition of like an Adam Dunn. Homer, strikeout, walk, barely anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys. I feel like that pretty much at this point in the season, the best thing that we can do as a podcast is we can obviously talk about looking ahead to next season, but I also think the way we were talking about guys that, big name guys that you could drop, or if you're trusting them at this point, if you're listening to baseball podcasts, you're obviously either love the game of fantasy baseball or you are in the thick of the things. And talking about guys to pick up most likely are not going in your lineup. It's who you should start. A lot of times pitchings and guys that are big name players. And I feel like as a listener, if this is the type of content that you need this season, or if there's certain things you're looking for in the thick of the playoff race, let us know, because we want to make sure we give you guys the best product.
I want something from you, David, and it's only if you have it. Do you have the schedule for next week?
I actually have. Thank you for reminding me.
Give me the graphic. I
literally forgot.
I've been lazy. I'm literally going to take a picture of this so I can look at it, because in the infamous 10-team league, I'm on my bye week right now. We're chilling. We're waiting for next week, so I got some time on my hands. So let me see.
So I can tell you it's very easy because every team's playing 6 or 7 games except the Diamondbacks.
And I don't have
5.
it. Oh, I could tell Marte I do. Darn it.
Fade all Diamondbacks hitters.
And we were just talking about they feel like we were playing against everybody.
Wait, David.
Yeah.
Can we go to the question?
Also, really quick, because I made the graphics, so I don't want to. Most added players: Ryan Pepio leads the list. Jose Quintana, Nelson Velasquez, Seiya Suzuki, Edward Cabrera, Jordan Lawler, Zach Littell, Evan Carter. Most drop players past week: Julio Urias, Luis Rendifo, Matt Manning, James Paxton, Jason Dominguez, Adam Duvall, Brian Wu, and Luis Severino.
Brian Wu. Okay. I'm on that. That's the dude. That's my dude for next year. I'm all about Brian Wu. He's been absolutely incredible. He just had another good outing. He goes against Oakland this week, starting the week. Guys, scoop him up. Like everything looks great. The K percentage is amazing. He's not walking people. His xERA is low. I love the home park. Brian Wu, baby. Woo!
On that back in calling it in September. That's as early a call as you can make for sure. Brian Wu. Okay. What was the question? So we have a question in the chat before we get ready to get out of here. In a Roto playoff, why are you smiling? I haven't even read the question yet. In a Roto League playoffs, close counting stats matchup, would you drop Ohtani for David Schneider? Thank you for your thoughts. Can we make David Schneider? Can we make that a thing, please?
Would you drop Shohei Ohtani for David Schneider in theaters now?
David Schneider is worth the ad. Drop Shohei Ohtani. David Schneider is the best baseball player we have ever seen. David Schneider is.
You know what? We need to get him on the podcast this offseason. Let's find him on the socials. He needs to know about this.
Next week, I'm gonna do a whole David Schneider script. Like David Schneider was a kid walking down the street. Then one day, he got called up to the big leagues.
David Schneider in Hot Stick.
He's going to find out that being a big leaguer ain't so fun.
Wait. Guess how many Twitter followers he has?
He has a Twitter?
Yeah.
2,700.
37. I remember we used to play this game. It's funny.
I'll give you a hint. He hasn't. His last tweet was a retweet in December of 2022.
Oh, so he's got probably like 5,400.
I guess he's like 300.
4,405.
There you go. It's mid-September when someone asks like Shohei Ohtani for David Schneider, like, should you drop? Like, could you imagine reading this like 7-8 months ago? I'd be like, who the hell's David Schneider? And then now he's batting every day, fourth in the lineup, and he's been incredible for a long time.
That's why you can't get hung up on name value.
Yeah.
There's an article on Baseball Savant, and I haven't read it yet, but it's literally it says his start is the best in Major League history, and I wish to read like what they're basing that off of, but it's
best OPS and AL/NL history through 25 games all time.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
1.315. Rhys Hoskins the only. Albert Pujols is on that list. Willie McCovey's on that list.
I will say he's more popular on Instagram with 19,000 followers.
Where will he get drafted next year? That's another fun question. Eric, maybe we should be David Schneider guys. You
want to take him number one in a main event?
No, a main event is $1,700 buy-in.
Yeah, but we'll put our stamp as the David Schneider guys in the industry, and then when he pays off for like 4th round value, we look like geniuses.
How about you pay for it and I'll co-manage it with you, and we can do that.
Okay, deal.
Okay, fair enough.
Imagine if we won the league after taking David Schneider number one
when he hit 65 home runs next year. David Schneider. Oh, man. Our man crush on this pod. All right. That's going to wrap us up for tonight. If you guys are not already, please make sure you follow all the gentlemen on Twitter. Doc is at Triple Fantasy. Art is at ArtTPF. Marty's at Marty _ Tallman. You can find me at DMendy02. We will be giving you fantasy baseball content all the way until the end of the regular season. And then we will be giving you content throughout the off season, just a little bit more sporadically, but we'll be here to give you all your fantasy baseball needs. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions you would like to write for the show or have any ideas of content you would like to see, please make sure to reach out to the show. You can reach out at tripplayfantasy@gmail.com if you like to go the email route, or email Doc at tripplayfantasy. And again, we love doing this for you guys each and every single week. So for Doc, for Lil Cheesecake, for Marty Party, I'm DMendy. It's great to be back. We're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. Talk to you guys next week.